Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Quantum Leap Tuesday, October the 22nd, our morning market analysis and trade level setup. If you're watching this video on YouTube or you're a visitor from Twitter, we are Quantum Leap. We are a self-organized learning environment. We've been around for about just over 4 years now. We run a private Skype chat room. It's 24-hour chat. I also run a live trade room. And each morning we come in and do our morning market analysis in this room here. If you're interested in finding out more information or checking out the chat room, you will need a Skype account. It's free to open Skype account. It only takes a couple minutes. And you can send me a contact request to Doug_McKay, and I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, or contact me through my Twitter or my email, dm@m4connects.com, or you can call me direct on my line. Please call me after trading hours. So what we're going to do this morning is we're going to go through a routine of going through the macro to the micro key numbers. Then we're going to do a macro to micro on the charts for trend analysis, and then we're going to get into some more in-depth analysis of volume profile, Elliott wave, and Fibonacci, etc. So if you're watching this after the fact, you might want to skip ahead to the more in-depth stuff. We don't skip the routine because this is what gets us prepared for trading in the morning. So before I do anything, I have to get the disclaimer out of the way. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand their knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You and only you are responsible for the trades or investment decisions you make. Trading futures or any instrument involves the risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to your financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors could lose more than initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades you see in here are for education purposes. Please trade your own plan, do your own due diligence. Okay, with that said, like I said, I'm running short right now from 42.75. I'm hoping that this will be the start. I'm funded, and I've got to stop at 45 1/4, just a couple ticks above what is now the all-time new high. We've got a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky going on right here, but this market still looks very, very strong. I'm surprised that I thought after the initial blow-off on the news that we'd actually get a much larger reversal back into the 1390s in around that, 1390s, 1730s, and back in around that 1337, 1338, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, we're going to go and do the numbers first, so we're just going to bring our homework sheet. This is our homework sheet. We've been keeping data on the sheet for several years now. And we start with the macro to the micro. So we now have a new high, which has just been put in at 44.75. So we have to make that adjustment. We're nowhere near our year open, our year low. Our month open, 1678.50. We have a new month high. And of course you can see our month highs have been trending up for the last 6 months now. The last little while, last 6 days I should say. Our month low, 1640. Our previous month open, 1640 1/4. Previous month high is that last all-time high that we were waiting to get taken out at 1726.75. Our month low previous 1630.75, and we closed at 1678.75. So we're trading way above that right now. Our week open on Sunday, Globex 1738. We have a new week high at 1744.75. Our week low is 1734.75. Previous week open 1684, previous week high 1740 1/4. We're trading above our previous week high. Our previous week low 1680.75, and we closed at 1737. And our quarter high changes to 1744.75, but we don't need to go through the other numbers. Our intraday, yesterday we opened the Globex in 1738. We had a high in Globex at 1741.75. Our Globex low 1735 1/4, and we opened at 1735. 1739.25 in the RTH session, and you can see these numbers have been, other than this lower Globex session, we've been, trending higher, for the last 8 days. We opened auction in range yesterday. We had a normal variation. We broke the IB to the high side. Our opening swing high, 1740.50. Our opening swing low, 1738.75 for a 1 3/4 point. This is one of the first two clues that we were looking for rotational day. We opened in range, and we had a tight opening swing. We had a initial balance high, 1741.75, initial balance low, 1737.25 for a 4.5 point initial balance. Again, a smaller initial balance. So again, we were, the market was giving us clues yesterday when we opened up that we were going to be in a rotational day, and that's exactly what we did. And we'll go through the main clues that I look at each morning when we get to the actual intraday charts. Our 1230 number was higher at 1738.75. All numbers in here are in central. Our RTH high was higher at 1742.50, which at the time was a all-time high. Our RTH low was 1734.75. We had a close of 1738, and our VPOC shifted to 1738.75. Our range for the day, we had a 7 3/4 point range in the RTH, which was basically our full session day. We had 6 point range in the Globex, very tight range. They came up and accepted balance and accepted value. Our full session high, 1742.50, was put in the RTH. Our full session low, 1734, was also put in the it was put in the Globex. Our 20-day ATRs are running just over 15.25 for RTH, just under 19 for full session, and just over 10.25 for the Globex. Last night we opened the Globex at 1737.75. Yesterday's European cash close, the 1030 number, central was 1738.25 again. These numbers are all trending very strong right now. And again, we had higher value area at 1739.75. Excuse me, sorry about that. Our higher value area at 1739.75, and our value area low was higher at 1737.25 for a 2.5 point value area. We broke the IB to the low side at 942, and then went and broke it to the high side as well, I believe. Our ETH high, 1738.25, ETH low, 1737.25, and we had settlement at 1737.75 for a 1 point extended session, and running just under half of the 20-day ATRs, and we had very light volume yesterday. There was just nothing going on. So again, we're up in no man's land, so there's not much to look at in terms of CHVNs. We've got a little bit of CHVN happening at 1737.25. That's because of the fact that we have come up and held value around that, and that was in around the last 2 sessions VPOCs, and just slightly lower than the last session VPOC. And the number I'm still watching below us is that 1736.25, which was the LVN from Friday, and the CLVN that I think is going to trigger some of the sellers piling on. In terms of the naked crosses, again, because we were up there, we didn't really take out any of the RTH naked crosses, and we didn't take out any naked VPOCs at 1738.75. We did add yesterday's VPOC. News, of course, this morning we had non-farm and unemployment. That gave us a spike in new highs. We've got Richmond manufacturing at 9 coming up next, so just keep an eye on that. Let's go over to the macro to the micro and the trend. 9 EMA and the 20 SMA is the 2 MAs that I watch on my charts, and of course you can see that we've got good slope and separation. We've been trending very strong on the month that we have not closed below the 9 EMA all year long, and price is paralleling the 9 very nicely, so the trend is very much intact on the monthly. On the weekly, we had a little we had a little bit of weakness coming in where we had to close below the 20 SMA. That was the first close on the weekly all year long. Then we had the quantitative easing news. We spiked up, made new highs. Then government shut down. We came down, and we're looking to close below the 20 SMA again. And then they had a deal, gave us our run to our next high, and of course we're trading above the prior month open, low, close, and high. So very, very strong on the weekly. Possible, again, I keep saying this, possible head and shoulder pattern setting up, but we just keep going and taking out the highs. Going over to the daily, we've gone parabolic on the daily. We've got a naked cross here at 1686.50 area. We've created a technical gap against the 9 EMA, but this is still very strong, and we just went and made new highs. Going over to the geometric chart, the long-term fork that we've been following, we broke above the center line, came off, we came down and broke outside of it, got back inside of it, went all the way up into this energy point between the upward sloping fork and the modified shift fork that we had added a couple weeks ago. I've added another opposing fork, but this is not going to be valid because we've broke above it, so I'll have to redraw that. Couple energy points that we have below us were this one right here and this one right here, but I'm going to have to redraw this. So I'm going to just do a quick edit here and draw this back in here with the new high just to see if we continue to follow it. But there's not much that this opposing fork is going to tell us right now because of the fact that we just put in a new high. More importantly, I think what you want to look for is we've come up above the 9 or the center line of the modified shift chart fork and the center line of the long-term fork. I'd be looking for a retrace back down to test this center line of the modified and the center line of the long-term upward sloping forks. And then we've got an energy point. If this does hold out this new opposing downward sloping fork, then we've got an energy point here at 1735 and a quarter area, and then 1728.50 area. And I'll redraw this and post it in the room properly. Let's go to the intraday and just see where we are in terms of the intraday trends. Of course, we've got slope and separation on the 9 and the 20 on the 4-hour. We had created this technical gap, basically closed it through time, came down, closed the gap, and now we've popped back up again on the news. So the trend still looks strong on the 4-hour. On the 30-minute, we've gone parabolic off of the 9, creating this technical gap. I'm looking for a bit of a retrace, and you can see this is a bit of a foo bar with a Mr. Sneaky happening on the 30-minute as well as what we saw on the shorter term charts. But again, it's not a lot to guide us up here. Going over to the composite, we've now created this 3 gaps that still haven't been filled. We've got the gap here, we've got the gap here, and we've got the gap here. We had a move up overnight to all-time high. We've got a minor CLVN at 1740.75. If we get below that, I'm looking for a rotation back in towards this 38.37.50 area, because that's where we come up and held value and created this distribution zone up here. Below that, the key line for me right now is 1736.25. If we get below that CLVN, I'd be looking for a rotation back to the 34 and come down to close the gap and test this CLVN at 1728.50 and possibly get inside of this body. The significant breakout candle, the 50%, is in around the 1720, 1718 area. But the big number below is this prior microcomposite VPOC at 1775, which is where they tried to hold value the last time they put in a high. I'm not expecting very much other than a little bit of rotation or a continuation of new highs. I mean, this market just doesn't seem to want to give up. So let's go over to the overnight. Overnight, we are kind of holding, value in around the, last two sessions, the Globex VPOC at 37.50, then yesterday's RTH VPOC at 17.38. We were putting in another VPOC down here overnight, holding that value around that 37.50 with the overnight VPOC at 37.25, and of course, with the news, they spiked it up higher, and we're currently creating a new distribution zone here. We've got an LVN overnight that you'll want to pay attention to at 41.75. Of course, we do have a possible FUBAR Mr. Sneaky, FUBAR on the 5-minute, and then a double Mr. Sneaky. But this could also turn into a flag pattern. So I'm going to be drawing the flag on this to see what the measured move above will be, because really we got nothing to go by above us with all these all-time highs, except we do have that measured move to 1780 and then 1808 area, which is that energy point above us. But I'm still thinking that we're getting close to a blow-off top here, and so I'm going to start with I currently have my short stop at 45.25, and I'm hoping that I'll start working that aggressively today to the short side. So let's go ahead and put our numbers over from Globex into our intraday chart. Our Globex high is 44.75. And our Globex low is 36. And our VPOC currently, which I don't think should change, is 37.25. Right at our IB low from yesterday. So in terms of hypothesis, well, on the open we're going to be looking for initiative buyers to step in, because if we open up above 42.50, we're going to have an open auction out of range, and I'll be looking for initiative buyers to step in and take us to make a new high and take out the overnight high and continue this move up. So I'll be watching for that, but I'm anticipating that we'll get a rotation back down to test the range high from yesterday and the IB high from yesterday at 42.50. This will be an area that I'll be looking for possible buyers, to step in and hold us up, or for them to capitulate, and I'll be looking to add to my short here if we get back inside of the IB from yesterday and the range high. Of course, we're going to have a gap on the open, and the close of the gap will be down here at 38, just below yesterday's VPOC at 38.75. Our value area high is our closing swing high at 39.75. Our value area low is, I believe, also going to be right on the IB low at 1737.25. So the 1737.25 has the IB low, the overnight VPOC, and the value area low. So if we get inside of the prior day range and get below this 40.75, this 40.75 will be another area that I'll be looking to add on to my short for a test of the value area high, and then if we get inside of the value area high, I'd be looking for a rotation back to balance in around that 38.75, 37.50 area, which is basically the distribution we had. We had a very tight distribution yesterday, and it'll close the gap. So I'm looking for a gap close, a takeout of the naked VPOC, and a test of the overnight VPOC, and a rule of value area rule, 80% rule of coming down through and testing the low of the value area. And then below that, we have our overnight low, possible as a takeout. If we don't take out the overnight high, 96% probability we come down and take this out. But the way they're trading it, we're probably likely to get a spike up to take out the overnight high before any of this counter rotation happens, if it happens. Of course, below that, we've got 34.75 range low, and below that, we've got a naked VPOC. So that will be the other area that I'll be looking to do business. And then, of course, that will put us below this key level at 36.25. But I can't use 36.25, as an entry, because we have a possibility of bouncing off of the overnight low. So I'm just gonna be very careful in this area between 34.75 and 40.75, because we can come back down here, and this area is pretty blunt on the profile. So there's really undetermined fair value here, and we could just chop around. In terms of the Keltner, we've got a test of the center line will bring us down to that 40.75 LVN and CLVN. If we hold the Keltner center line, a test of the upper line will take us up to 46.75, which will take out the overnight high and give us a all-time new high. If we get below the Keltner center line, a test to the lower Keltner line will take us down to 35, which will take out the overnight low and take out all those targets below us. Taking a quick look at gold. Oops, wrong chart. Now, yesterday we were talking about this, rotating and staying inside of this distribution. We weren't looking for a lot of movement. We look at the downside, other side of balance down here at 13.0430, and then the upper side of balance being the 37.25. But the hypothesis was we were going to just chop around back in around this balance area from the former microcomposite VPOC and what is our current microcomposite VPOC in that 13.17, 13.18 area. We have spiked up now, and we've tested 35.75. Didn't quite get to the 37.25. If we get above that, I'd be looking for a move back up to test that 50, the 45.11 CLVN and the 51.7 CLVN, but that would also be looking for a move to this value area high at 52.40. And then above that, if we get above that, the targets above are the 63, 66, and that 87 to 88 area, with the big target being that naked microcomposite VPOC at 87.10. If we get back below the range low, that 09 area, which was also one of our targets below of the upper distribution of this microcomposite here at 13.09. If we get below and break out of that range, look for a test of the 13.04 CLVN, and then if we get below that, the test of the centennial number 1300 with the value area low at that 95.80, and then again that bigger number back down there at 1284. 1284.70, I think it is. 1284.80, sorry. And then below that, the bigger target below is the naked microcomposite at 1268 area. But again, I'm anticipating that we'll spend another day in here rotating in this distribution zone between 37.25 and 13.0430. So that's what I'm looking at. Howard, over to you.
Thank you, Doug. So starting with the weekly chart, last week we saw our first test and close above this 20-year fourth median line that we've been tracking. And currently this week we're extending the highs from there. So the key level will be a retest of this line to see if it holds. If it does, that would indicate that it has now become support, and we would look for higher prices. If it does not hold, then it's possible that we're seeing a bit of a blow-off here and potentially a failed breakout. But that will take a few weeks to settle which way it wants to go from there. But that's on an intermediate term perspective what I would look for, using this line as a significant point for support or, again, becoming resistance. Daily chart. So we've got, counting this doji here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and starting a ninth green day out of 10. If we hold above our open from Globex at 37.75. So we've had a very strong rally since the low off our prior all-time high up here at 1726.75. Just had this one day of consolidation. So still looking very strong. The 9 EMA has become somewhat ballistic here. It had broken below the 50 SMA here, and then once the rally began, quickly crossed above it and the 20 SMA here, and in very short order created very large separation between itself and the 20 SMA with a very high angle. It's much higher than 45 degrees now, probably close to 60 degrees, I would estimate. So let's go take a look at market breadth. So starting here, we look at our Dow transports versus industrials. Nothing new to report here. Still have good separation, and transports have continued significantly stronger than the industrials throughout this year. They're up over 26% on the year. Now let's take a look at on-balance volume. We haven't looked at that for a little bit. And while we have a higher high here, we actually have a lower high here. And this is using the SPY, compared to our prior all-time high. So a little bit of a non-confirmation. Price and on-balance volume are going in the same direction, but we don't see the same conviction in volume as we do in price. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. We have a higher high in price, a lower high in on-balance volume. Let's take a quick peek at how it looks in the ES. We have a similar picture here in the ES. We put in our high and on-balance volume at the same time, pretty much within a day of the time we put in our prior all-time high, but we have a lower high now. So price seems to be accelerating faster than at least this internal measure. So let's go back to SPY. Look at the sectors. And we're getting a little bit of a mixed picture in the sectors. While price continues to maintain a strong angle of price increase, we're seeing some divergence among the sectors. We see technology kind of leading the charge of the sectors recently. Retail is up to sideways, but we see healthcare moving down. We see XLY, which is consumer discretionary, showing strength. Financials leveling off. Industrials showing some strength. Energy tailing off. XLP, which is your consumer staples, basically sideways. Same with XLB, which is your materials. Home builders is starting to tail off a little bit, and utilities have flattened. So we're starting to see some divergence between sectors and the SPY. So that's two indications that breadth is not keeping up with price so far. Now let's take a look at advanced declines and up-down volume. Okay, so we're looking at advanced declines, and they are still increasing with price, but as we can see again, the high here is the lower high in advanced declines, and these again are on a 10-day average basis. We put in our high here pretty much where we had our previous all-time high. We have a lower high at our now new all-time high for advanced declines and also in up-down volume. So they're moving in the same direction, but not as strong as price is indicating. So in all of the market breadth indications that I typically look for during the homework sessions, we're starting to see some divergence between overall market breadth and the trajectory that market price is currently traveling. So just things to keep in mind to see if these start forming an early indication of continuing thinning of market breadth and maybe an eventual slowdown or at least consolidation in price. So with that, Doug, that's all I've got. I'll turn it back over to you. Just over 10 minutes left open.
Thanks, Howard. So this will conclude our morning market session for Tuesday, October the 22nd. Again, it's likely we're going to get an open auction out of range. Look for initiative buyers to step in to go out and take that overnight high and put an all-time new high in, or look for them to come down and test this 42.50 range high and IV high from the prior day. If they can break back inside of yesterday's range, the first area of support, look for 40.75 and below that, then I think we get into the value area and come down and take out the targets of the VPOC, naked VPOC from yesterday, the overnight VPOC, and close the gap and test the low. That is it. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Again, if you're interested in finding out more about Quantum Leap, send me a contact request at Doug_McKay. You will need a Skype account if you want to come in and check out the room. If not, give me an email at dm@m4connects.com or call me direct on my line or send me your telephone number and I'll call you back. Everyone have a great day.